This is DX Central Live. This is DX Central Live. This is DX Central Live.
Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs, so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs, so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shoutouts so we can celebrate together. The shoutout submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5.
This is DX Central Live.
In the night, so dark and quiet, frequencies hum low like a riot. Tuning in with all my might, searching for a voice in flight. Cajun air, it holds the sound. Radio waves from town to town. Static crackles, mix and turn, waiting for that name to learn. Signal fades, the name's unknown, trying to catch it all alone. Mystery calls, the night, my friend, searching till the very end. Moonlight dances on the dial, rumbling with that Delta style. Notes float softly in the wind, still I wait for news to send. Signal fades, the name's unknown, trying to catch it all alone. Mystery calls, the night, my friend, searching till the very end. Bayou whispers keep me still, craving for that lingering thrill. Misted voices lost in haze, echoes in this southern maze.
This is DX Central Live.
gets no call. All those radio waves, they play with his mind, searching for signals, but they're so hard to find. From Puerto Rico to faraway land, tune in the static, still no guitar in hand. He's there in the darkness, waiting for a sign, humming to the silence with a hopeful line. But the airwaves are quiet, nothing comes through. Just another night, feeling deja vu. All those radio waves, they tease and they taunt, with promises of rhythms, but give him just one. From Puerto Rico, he's searching afar, dreams of a broadcast beneath the bright star. And in his small room, by the glow of the moon, he waits for a melody, morning or noon. Signals may fail, but his hope never fades. Seeking the music, his spirit demands. Another dawn breaks, he's still at the dial. With every sunrise, he promises a smile. From Puerto Rico to faraway land, tune in the static, still no guitar in hand. He's there in the darkness, waiting for a sign, humming to the silence with a hopeful line. But the airwaves are quiet, nothing comes through. Just another night, feeling deja vu. Oh, those radio waves, they tease and they taunt, with promises of rhythms, with a hopeful line. But the airwaves are quiet, nothing comes through. Just another night, feeling deja vu. And in his small room, by the glow of the moon, he waits for a melody, morning or noon. Signals may fail, but his hope never fades. Seeking the music, his spirit demands. Another dawn breaks, he's still at the dial. With every sunrise, he promises a smile. Someday the frequencies will carry his tune. Till then, he dances to the rhythmless blue.
This is DX Central Live.
I got my radio on, just trying to get on it. But my baby says no way, so I'm stuck in this chair. I dream of signals far from north to east to west, but I can't put up no antenna. She says it's for the best. Dreaming of DX, signals I can't hear. My baby won't let me, so I'm sitting here in tears. That static calls my name, whispering in my mind. But without that big old tower, the signals I can't find. I see the towers rise in a distant starry sky, but here I'm bound in time, can't even say goodbye. Dreaming of DX, signals I can't hear. My baby won't let me, so I'm sitting here in tears. 'cause I can't hear. My baby won't let me, so I'm sitting here in tears.
DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
For more than 90 years, the National Radio Club has been at the forefront of providing DXers with the latest in station news, DX-related technical information, and reception reports from DXers around the world. The NRC's AM radio log, now in its 45th edition, is the most expansive and detailed resource of station information for U.S. and Canadian radio stations that is available in any format. The club's publication, the DX News, is available in both print and electronic format and provides the latest information on call letter and format changes, construction permits, and other information to help keep DXers informed of the latest updates they may hear on the air. For more information, visit their website at nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. With a lifetime membership, the International Radio Club of America gives DXers incredible value by putting important station information right at your fingertips. The club's e-publication, the DX Monitor, includes DXer loggings, station information updates, international loggings, and more. Other club publications include the IRCA Mexican Log, a must-have resource for any DXer that chases stations from Mexico, the TIS HAR list, the IRCA slogan list, sunset sunrise maps, and DXer technical guides. The joint IRCA-NRC email reflector and groups.io group is a hub for real-time DX conditions, station news, and DX-related conversation. For more information, visit ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
This man told me to tell you to watch DX Central Live with Lloyd Van Horn every Friday night. Is my Diet Coke in there?
Previously on DX Central Live.
It could be Bob FM there in Missouri. KRZD is a good bet of who it could be. Wow. That was a nice ID there from Bob FM. Really nice to get that one in there. No call letters. We'll get that at the top of the hour probably, but a lot of nice slogans in there. That's definitely a Spanish station coming in here and probably is Radio Aleluya in Houston, my guess. Oh no, that's Mexico, baby. Yeah, that's a new one. Let's see if we can parallel 1530 here. Yes, we can. Look at that. That worked out perfectly. That could have not gone better. Got one more shout out here in the hopper here, so you got plenty of time. dxchallenges.com/shoutout. Get yours in. We'll get you here in the next hour. Whoa, show. Jacob up in Minnesota, you see him as airplane engine there in the chat right now. And I heard a new log last night, 670. 670 KBOI in Boise, Idaho. I'm going to need a minute. Just kidding. 670 KBOI in Boise, Idaho. Match to one of the Kiwi SDRs near Boise. I've been after this one for quite some time now.
It's a Friday night. Lloyd in the North Shore setting frequencies right. AM and FM, the airwaves collide. DX Central Live, where the signals can't hide. Tuning in the static, chasing down the sounds. Every single signal is magic we have found. All radios hum, the chatters all agree. DX Central Live is the place to be. Folks in the chat, shout out your call. From east to west, we're breaking down the walls. It's the magic of the night, where frequencies fly. Join us now on DX Central Live.
From the Gulf South
to your corner of the world.
This is DX Central Live.
Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
From Studio A in the North Shore Studios in Mandeville, Louisiana, DX Central Live, Season 5. We're in Episode 3, our third week so far this season. And we are here for some live DX and a whole bunch of more stuff. We're going to be talking about all kinds of DX-related stuff tonight, my friends. Hopefully you've had a fun week on 1590, 1600. I'll tell you, I've been surprised. At 1590, it's been the gift that keeps on giving. I don't know where that came from. 1600, I mean, it's WAOS. It's KLEB for me. Those two are duking it out, but 1590. Very interesting so far this week on 1590. So we'll talk about the challenge frequencies from this week. Of course, we got some new frequencies coming. We got some solar storms on the way. Big X-class flares. Big one, a 9.05, a 7.1, and a whole bunch of little M-class flares to kind of go along with it. So it's really priming the ionosphere. So we're going to be talking about what to expect based on what the space weather experts are saying. We're going to look at some of their information, some of their write-ups about the solar flares that are heading this way. So we'll talk a bit about what to expect and what you can do to try to take advantage of it, especially on the AM side. Possibly FM, possibly weather, but definitely on the AM side, we'll talk about how you can take advantage of those. Speaking of FM, we do have a meteor shower that we're now kind of diving into now that we're here in October, and another even bigger one around the corner. So we'll talk about those. And of course, we have your shout outs and a whole lot of other stuff to get to tonight. So make sure you get yourself cozy, got your beverage handy. I got myself my soda ready here. Get your beverage handy, get cozy, grab your radio. Let's do some DX tonight together. As always, we want to thank our sponsors, our usual sponsors, and a brand new one that is joining us tonight for the very first time. So our usual sponsors, we'll go ahead and remind you, those are the National Radio Club. NationalRadioClub.org is their website for more information about becoming a member, so you can take advantage of all the member benefits, including reduced prices on their publications, their DX News member bulletin that includes all kinds of logging information, station updates, call letter changes, format changes, you name it, you can find it in there. Write-ups on DXpeditions, international loggings, all kinds of stuff. There's the International Radio Club of America, IRCAonline.org. Also, a great club for AMDXers in North America. It's a lifetime membership. You join, you're in, and you can receive the DX Monitor member bulletin. Same kind of stuff, station updates, loggings, international loggings, and more. Both NRC and IRCA have online e-versions of their publication. NRC has a print publication version as well if you want to have that in your hand. And NRC is now publishing a DXtra bulletin that includes extra information they couldn't include in the print version. So very, very cool. Again, that's nationalradioclub.org and IRCAonline.org. We would like to welcome tonight our newest sponsor. That is Spectrum Monitor Magazine. Some of you guys know I'm a columnist and do some writing about AM and FM DX for the Spectrum Monitor. So Ken, our publisher and editor of the Spectrum Monitor, and I worked out a deal, and so we're going to have the Spectrum Monitor as a sponsor. We'll get the recorded ads in there for them here pretty soon to include in our usual ad blocks that we do. But tonight we'll just be sharing some information with you guys about the Spectrum monitor and what you can expect when you pick up a copy. It's $24 for a full year, and that is January to December. A full year of the Spectrum monitor is only $24. It's $3 if you pick them up individually, so you're saving $1 per issue right there. And it's jam-packed. If you DX beyond even just the AM and the FM, if you're into ham radio, if you're into shortwave, satellite, scanners, all of it, there's something in there for you in the Spectrum monitor. So kind of taking the reins over from the days of monitoring times, which you guys know I was a writer there too. So definitely happy to be joining this, joined Spectrum monitor here a few years back to continue the writing and bringing AMDX and FMDX stuff to the readers of the Spectrum monitor. So you can find out more information at thespectrummonitor.com. Thespectrummonitor.com. There are 2 M's in there. Spectrummonitor.com. As always, we appreciate if you guys are watching us here on YouTube would to throw a little say. Why isn't that showing up? Oh, I don't have it on the other one. Throw a subscription, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you'll be notified when we do have new live streams and new videos. We're working on a bunch of backlog that I have right now for produced videos for the channel, so you'll be notified when those come out. We also upload our air checks, the things that we hear and things like that. And don't forget, is if you have the opportunity here, to hit that like button and leave a comment on this live stream. And that does help us out very much, and we appreciate it if you do. So thank you very much for those of you who are here and joining in with us. Let's go ahead and do some live DX, though, because I want to get started on that. I want to do some live DX. We got top of the hour coming around the corner here. So starting off with our first DX session brought to you by the National Radio Club, nationalradioclub.org. Again, the website for more information about membership and some of the publications that they have to offer. Now, we do have, as usual, our Perseus SDR. And tonight we're running 2 antennas through the Perseus, and we're going to start off, though, on the main one. That is our 22 by 72 foot SuperLoop, and that is oriented right now at 195 degrees. We're looking kind of southish right now on the SuperLoop. We also have, we'll be recording on that here at the top of the hour. We also have up here up top, we have our shortwave central Kiwi that we have running with our big, call it the Kiwi KAZ, the south-facing Kiwi at 150 degrees. That is at our sister facility here, Shortwave Central, around the corner here in Mandeville. And then on the other Kiwi, we have our 263-degree SuperLoop. This is a 15 by 56 SuperLoop. Right now, it is a little quiet on that one. We're still kind of gearing up here. We're right now around sunset here locally in Mandeville, so everything's kind of, the signals are just starting to kind of creep up a bit. Let's go ahead and start off here on, let's start with the Perseus, and we're at 195 degrees. Let's go ahead and start there. We'll switch over around top of the hour to the Kiwis, and we'll be recording on the Perseus. Let's go ahead and start here at the Perseus, though. I see Walt in there in the chat. Walt and Rob. How's it going, guys? It's been a while since I saw y'all. There's Dennis. Stephanie on the cruise. And we sit here on 1590 now. 1590 this week has been a lot of XEVOZ, which we heard for the very first time this past week on our live stream right here on DX Central Live down here in the Estado de Mexico. Heard them for the first time this last week, and we've heard them quite a bit here. So we'll see if that's them that's still coming in right now. Be sure to join in on the chat if you want to let us know what you're hearing, or if you got a frequency you want us to check out, be sure to let us know in the chat. We're more than happy to oblige. Like I said, let us know what you're hearing too. We're about 3 minutes away from top of the hour time frame, so we'll be hitting the alert button and letting you guys know when it's time to tune in and listen for those IDs. Hey, Augustin, welcome, my friend. Welcome to DX Central Live. Glad to have you here. We got ourselves a great community of folks here that love to celebrate together when we hear cool stuff, share tips, tricks, all kinds of good stuff. So glad to have you here, and hopefully you are a regular with us now. Of course, we'll be doing some live FMDX a bit later on as well. I'm trying to talk over the music right now. I don't want to get that copyright strike. I just got my copyright strike from like 3 years ago wiped off. I was leaving an FMDX stream private just for me to watch so I could look for E-skip one year. And that got me a copyright strike on the channel. So that just wiped clean. So I don't want to get another one. I've got a nice fresh start here. Want to make sure we keep it clean here for the community guidelines. That's XEVOZ. Buenísima. And they do sign off relatively early in the evening, and then they're gone. After the national anthem, they're gone, and 1590 has opened up a bounty of stations for me this week. So we'll be telling you guys about that when we get to the shout-outs. "25 seconds. Get them headphones ready. Get your logbook pulled up or out on the desktop, wherever you got it. It's ID time, my friends. All right, you know how we do it. Top of the hour time.
DX Central Live Top of the Hour Alert.
And we're looking south here. 195 degrees. We're going to let this one record here in the top of the next minute here. We're going to let the Perseus record. Go ahead and mute that for now. Let's go ahead and swap up to our... let's start with the shortwave central. This is the louder of the two right now. Let's look down at 150 degrees. So we're looking down towards Central America, South America right now on this big 25 by 72 KAZ. Let's refresh. Probably, I would say this is most likely going to be WHOT or Buenísima. One of the two. Has anybody heard from Bill? I haven't seen Bill on the stream lately. Where's he at? Make sure he's okay. Let's peep up to 1600 though. I know who this is going to be.
Actually, that ball was closer to being completed than what I thought when it first left his hands.
That's definitely KLEB. I can recognize that Cajun accent anywhere else, yeah. Hey, Mamacita's in the house. Over at Shortwave Central. We're sitting on your antenna right now, Mamacita. The big, beautiful KAZ. And Stephanie, we'll be chatting about that here on this next hour. Top of the next hour, we'll be chatting about that space weather heading our way. Big story for us DXs. I'm going to go ahead and let's just check the west wire here on the DXC KAZ. Also needs a refresh. So this is our 263-degree west wire. All right, John, 12 logs this week on the Challenge Freaks. Nothing new, but refamiliarizing yourself with the freaks is never bad.
Il fait 8 heures sur Radio Nouvelle Lumière.
That is WHOT Faux Show in there. So that's who we got right now on both the west and south wires is WHOT St. Pete, Tampa.
Powell will be kicking it
1600, we've got KLEB Golden Meadow using that high school football STA to run full power past when they're supposed to be.
Let's take a 1-minute break real quick. The Cardinals get an early touchdown. We'll be back on ESPN 100.3, the Tarpon Sports Radio Network.
State Bank and Trust Company has provided Cajun banking service just the way you like it for now 70 years. State Bank offers a wide variety of modern conveniences without having to sacrifice that personal touch that we all know and love. So stop by today and get a taste of Cajun banking and be met by a smiling, familiar face who loves our area as much as you do. That State Bank and Trust Company, still standing strong after 70 years of loyal service to our community.
Jacob's got KGYM.
More than just an insurance company.
1600 in like a local.
Ontario has been helping customers find the best coverage and price for their home, auto, and flood insurance. Ontario specializes in commercial property, liability, and workers' comp. Call Danielle or Marie at
1590 for Sean's WCGO in Evanston.
We do not sell a product, we sell a service.
His pest.
Powell's kick goes out of the back of
I'm always pretty happy when I hear him. Anything I can get in that general area, I'm happy about. I don't get a lot.
Luxury to have.
Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio, Indiana.
And when he's
Midwest has kind of eluded me
so even if he doesn't
largely.
It, he's still going to kick it into the end zone. So 1st and 10 for the Tarpons. The last drive was over before it even got started with the bad snap on 1st down.
Let's go back over here now. Probably going to be the same stations on the Perseus, but let's just double check and make sure. Let's go down here and see what we caught at the top of the hour. 1590 first, and then we'll go to 1600.
1520 AM counting. This is WNGO 1520 AM Fairview Shores, Orlando, High Hills, and Winter Park. This is WHOT, Palm River Carmel, Tampa.
Il fait 8 heures sur Radio Nouvelle Lumière.
Not bad, right? It's pretty good quality ID. Now let's go back up to 1600 and see what do we caught there. LEB.
19-yard gain, and one thing you don't.
All right, so we're just past sunset here in Mandeville, so a lot of the usual suspects are being pulled in right now. WHOT on 1590, KLEB here at 1600 Golden Meadow. It did have on one of the wires we had XEVOZ in Mexico, Buenísima, on 1590 there on the south wire. So those have been kind of the usual suspects for this week. But we have had some moments where we had some good stuff that has come in, especially on 1590. So we'll be talking about that when we get to our shout-outs a little bit later on. We'll have a round of shout-outs every hour. So you have plenty of time to get your shout-outs in. It's dxchallenges.com/shoutouts. So get those shout-outs in. We'll be reading them as we go along tonight. In each hour, we'll be reading a couple different rounds of shout-outs to make sure we have a chance to celebrate together. And we blow that horn of victory. Maybe saw some logs, maybe let the moose loose. I don't know what you guys have got this week. We'll see. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to do, make sure before I do this break thing, just make sure all my little videos and stuff are off. I don't want to have it like double dipping here. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking some space weather. We've had two pretty big X-class flares this week from our sun, our star here around the corner here in the solar system. Spitting out some energy our way. So we're going to talk about what that might mean for DX and see what the experts seem to think is going to happen. And then what that might mean for AM and FM and maybe even weather DX. Plus, we've got some updates from Airspy coming your way. Some new firmware released and a whole lot more. So don't go anywhere, my friends. More DX Central Live is heading right your way.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
For more than 90 years, the National Radio Club has been at the forefront of providing DXers with the latest in station news, DX-related technical information, and reception reports from DXers around the world. The NRC's AM radio log, now in its 45th edition, is the most expansive and detailed resource of station information for U.S. and Canadian radio stations that is available in any format. The club's publication, the DX News, is available in both print and electronic format and provides the latest information on call letter and format changes, construction permits, and other information to help keep DXers informed of the latest updates they may hear on the air. For more information, visit their website at nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. With a lifetime membership, the International Radio Club of America gives DXers incredible value by putting important station information right at your fingertips. The club's e-publication, the DX Monitor, includes DXer loggings, station information updates, international loggings, and more. Other club publications include the IRCA Mexican Log, a must-have resource for any DXer that chases stations from Mexico, the TIS HAR list, the IRCA slogan list, sunset sunrise maps, and DXer technical guides. The joint IRCA-NRC email reflector and groups.io group is a hub for real-time DX conditions, station news, and DX-related conversation. For more information, visit ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
This has been, and I don't think I'm exaggerating. I've got the data to back it up. This has been one of the best weeks of AMDX I have ever had as a DXer. Plain and simple.
You're watching DX Central Live with Lloyd Van Horn, and that's a very wise thing to do.
Are you ready for some DX? I said, are you ready for some DX? Well, I'm ready for some DX. I see what Lloyd has in store for us. Here we go. In the glow of the screen, it's a Friday night. Lloyd's on the North Shore, setting frequencies right. AM and FM, the airwaves collide. just the place to be. Yeah.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
All right, DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here in Mandeville, Louisiana, where we bring you live DX-related topics and chat and all kinds of fun stuff, shout-outs, and frequency challenges. We try to do it all here. When it comes to AM, FM, TV, weather, DX, we try to fit all that stuff in here to help us all learn together, celebrate together, and DX together, and enjoy it together. That's the whole thing, right? That's what we do. Before we go any further, I want to take a second. I didn't talk about it last week because it was still very fresh, and we were just starting to kind of learn what was going on in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. And I mean, you guys know, I mean, here in Louisiana, we're no stranger to hurricanes. We just had one last month. Right? My wife and I, my mom, we rode out a Category 1 hurricane here. And did that quite a bit when I was in Charleston and grew up here in New Orleans area. So hurricanes have been kind of a way of life, a part of life, definitely, for a very long time. But when we hear what's happened in Florida and Georgia and South Carolina and North Carolina and Tennessee and you know, you guys, a lot of you know, I lived in Western North Carolina for a long time, and the upstate of South Carolina and the Low Country, all over the Carolinas. But we lived in Western North Carolina for a long time. We were in Brasstown. Grove Enterprises, Montreal Times brought us there, and went to school at Western Carolina University and worked in Asheville at the radio stations out there. Lived in Waynesville, North Carolina, Haywood County, right off of I-40. So a lot of the places you guys are hearing about in the news are places that I frequented. I was there. I was around a lot of those places. Very vivid memories and images in my mind of what they were like before, and now I'm seeing the images of what we see now, and it's absolutely just it's heartbreaking. It's heart-wrenching, and I don't think it's going to get any better. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. The stories that we're hearing. So I say all that to say this, you know, obviously our prayers and our thoughts are with all of our friends and folks in the path of the devastation. I've been keeping track with a lot of them, and making sure they're okay. And I just urge you guys, whatever charity you feel compelled to contribute to, that is providing support or relief for the folks in that area, in the whole damage path of Helene, whatever charity feels right to you, I just encourage you to give whatever you can to help these folks out, because it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I was there in Waynesville. I was living in just outside of Waynesville when Katrina hit down here, and was just absolutely gutted from that. I was in radio at the time, and we were doing a live show. Sports show, and we had some of the folks from down here in Louisiana on the show, some folks from like WWL radio and things like that on the show. We were interviewing, talking to them and everything, and I was inconsolable. You know, my buddy who's still there, he lives in Maggie Valley, North Carolina. He got me through it, and now I'm here and seeing it back there, and it's a lot of familiar feelings to what I had back in 2005. So again, whatever charity you feel compelled or comfortable donating to, that is providing them assistance, that's my request to all of us, is to try to pitch in where we can, try to help out and help these folks out. It's going to be a very, very, very long road to recovery, from an infrastructure standpoint, from a rebuilding standpoint for people in their homes, and any sort of sense of normalcy getting back to their lives. Is going to be a very, very long road ahead. So we need to help them out any way we can. Okay. All right. So let's talk about some solar weather, some space weather, some stuff that's heading our way. We had two pretty big solar flares this week, exiting Sol. And so I want to take you guys here really quick to a website here that I look at. There's quite a few different solar websites that I look at to get updates and information. There's some folks on Twitter that I trust. Some of the stuff you're seeing, like I saw one guy the other day said there was a 5% chance of a kill shot here, and I just ignored that guy. He was talking like an EMP from this. No. So let's talk a bit about what this is one of the websites I look at, spaceweather.com. Let's see what their interpretation is, their analysis here. So we've had 2 X-class flares and a whole bunch of little smaller M-class flares that have come through, and there's still a chance we could see some more. 75% chance of M-class flares, 35% chance of X-class flares during the next 24 hours. So we may not be done here because the big sunspots are very active. And this says here, there are currently 4 active regions with unstable Delta-class magnetic fields that harbor energy for strong solar flares. So there's a chance we could see some more here popping up over the next several days. The geomagnetic storm. So the flare already happened, right? It takes a while for that energy to get to us, the plasma and everything else to reach us here on Earth. Assuming that it's directed at us and that the trajectory of the plume and everything else is coming right for us. So that's one of the things that we're going to take a look at here. This week, 2 powerful X-class solar flares, a 7.1 and a 9.1, and a series of lesser M-class flares hurled CMEs towards the Earth in our general direction. A new NOAA model shows 3 of them hitting or grazing our planet between the 4th and the 7th. So basically between now and Monday or so. The most potent of those CMEs, coronal mass ejection, that's when you get like not just a flare, but it's like a boosh, right? Number 2 in the graphic above, which is here, this one right here, is expected to arrive during the late hours of October the 5th UTC time. So tomorrow night, UTC time, right? So basically I would say it's now morning UTC. It's midnight, just after midnight UTC now. So in the next 24 hours. This could spark a strong G3 class magnetic storm with auroras at mid-latitudes for observers in the USA. This means the night of the 5th through the 6th, okay? So tomorrow night, aurora possibilities here in the US and mid-latitudes. The other 2 CMEs, number 1 and number 3, are less potent by themselves. They might not cause much of a storm at this time of the year. However, even with weak CMEs, they can be effective due to the autumnal Russell-McFerrin effect, which we'll click on that link here in a second. The collective effect of all 3 of those could cause strong enough storms throughout the broad forecast interval. So yeah, we may be looking at some unsettled conditions. Will this be as strong as what we saw in May? Well, the 9.1 flare that we saw here is the strongest flare so far of solar cycle 25. So there are some folks who are saying it should be easily as strong as the one that we had back in May, if not stronger. I don't get that sense from that write-up. I don't feel like that's like saying like, holy crap, because I think it was much more than a G3 that we had back in May. So we'll have to see what the actual impact is. Sometimes these things, they look at it and they think, okay, it's going to happen this way, and then it kind of fizzles out or what. I don't know. You know, predicting whether it's in the atmosphere or outside of our atmosphere in space can be a little tricky. They're pretty good at it usually. The Russell-McFerrin effect, though, semi-annual variation of geomagnetic activity. So this looks like a little write-up here. I'll put this in the chat if you guys want to read. I'm not going to read the whole thing here. So there you go. So that is a bit of basically what it's basically saying is that during this time of the year, geomagnetic influence can be a little bit more during autumn, and it gives you the reasons why and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, I'm not going to read all that, but I put it in the chat in case you guys wanted to read that. So what does that mean for us? What does that mean for us as DXers, FM, AM, weather, DXers? So let's start with AM. What that means is we're looking for a couple of things to occur here over the next 24 hours or so. We're looking for the A index to go high. You're looking at like 50, 60, 70s, 80s, somewhere in there, A index or higher. You get that really high A index, that's a good indicator. Then you have a high K index. So I'm hearing we could see anywhere from 5 to 7 K index over the next 24 hours. The conventional logic that I've always been told, Dad taught me this many, many years ago when I was first starting as an AMDXer, and a lot of the literature that I've read has kind of backed this up. So I feel pretty good that what I'm about to say here, pretty confident about what I'm about to say, but if I screw this up, please, someone who is more informed than I, please correct in the chat. But what I've always been told and read was that the K index is kind of your first indicator. When you have a really high K index, that basically means there's something going on right now. The A index is usually a little more delayed and to see those impacts of a high K index. So like, I don't remember the intervals that you're looking at, but basically a high K index basically means something now, and then the last little bit, however many hours it is, that can go up and down pretty quick based off the event actually happening. But the A index tends to go up and then come back down a little more gradually on both the up and down slope. So if you see that A index is really, really high, but the K index is like a 1 or a 2, then we're on the downside of the event. If you see a high K index and a high A index, we're still climbing. We're still got room to go in here. So high A, high K indexes are both very, very important. But the most critical for us as AMDXers that we're looking for is called the BZ, the Bravo Zulu. What you want to see here is a negative number for the Bravo Zulu, and the bigger the number, the better, right? Because basically what that is an indication of is how the more negative, the higher the negative number, the more southern, more of a southern component there is to that auroral event that's occurring. The more that's happening, what's essentially happening is you're getting that deeper penetration to the south of the aurora, and you're getting that blanketing of the auroral conditions over signals to the north. Now, if you're under the auroral influence, you're going to be a little more like, not great, because you're going to be getting less signals being able to penetrate through that. But if you're like say myself, what I'm hoping that's going to happen for me is that some of the signals that are to my north, Chicago's and Detroit's and Kansas and Nebraska and Iowa and places like that, that'll be under the auroral shield, they will be attenuated, and that allows me to hear more stations to my south, down in South America and things like that, Central America. That's kind of usually the hope that we're looking for here. And then as that recedes, then your folks up north tend to get that condition, that kind of enhancement down to the south. So that's kind of what I would expect over the next 24 hours is we're going to have this event where you're going to have some manner of depth of this aurora penetrating down into the mid latitudes. How far south it goes depends on how strong that storm actually ends up being. But hopefully for us as DXers, we get some sort of attenuation up north in the major like 50K stations, and then that will open up some opportunities to hear things down south. For some of you up north, that might mean that maybe you're going to hearing things into Florida, Louisiana, South Carolina, where normally you wouldn't be able to hear it. For those of us who are further south, maybe we'll hear stuff further down to the south. That'd be nice, right? So we'll be doing some looking. If we get a really big night tomorrow night and it's just a Latin night and I turn on the SDR and it's just Latin stuff everywhere, we're going to spin up a special edition of DX Central Live. We're going to DX alongside with you guys tomorrow night to do that together, because I think that'll be a lot of fun. We've done it in the past, and it's so much fun when those come around. If it's not, then we probably won't. But another thing to also keep in mind, I have noticed, and I have no scientific basis for this whatsoever, and Rob's asking where do we find the Bravo Zulu. I'm going to get you that here in a second. If you look here, see this website above my head right now, hamqsl.com/solar-.html. That's where that little graphic right there comes from. So you can see right now the solar flux is a 291, A index is 20. I can't see, is that a 2 for the K index? So it's not quite there yet. Then you have that Bravo Zulu is below there, the BZ. That's right. I can't really see it. It's tiny on my screen. But that Bravo Zulu. So solar or hamqsl.com. hamqsl.com solar. Let me just pop this in the old Chizat for you guys. There we go. That's the one that I use. I use it here on the live stream. It's on my online logbook. I keep it there, so no matter what, I can always kind of scroll to it pretty quickly. hamqsl.com/solar. Keep an eye on that one over the next 24 hours. Another thing that I've noticed, again, I have no scientific basis for this, no data to support this. This is just my observations, and you know how observations can work sometimes. But I have typically noticed that the ionosphere kind of acts like a bell, and when it gets rung like that, it doesn't just stop ringing. It kind of shimmies for a while, and you kind of get this like residual effect. So even a day to 2 days after the event is over and the kind of conditions kind of calm down, you still get some sort of enhancement. So I would say not just tomorrow night. So definitely tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, we want to make sure we're checking the AM band. But maybe even Sunday night, check it and see. You might be surprised. Some folks do, some folks don't. But I have noticed there have been times where you kind of get this like residual enhancement even like a day or so after the event has occurred. It just really is going to depend on how much of this is going to hit us versus grazing us. So we'll see. For an FM DXer and weather DXer, what can you expect? There's always that question I see on social media with these solar storms. What can I expect on FM? Typically, solar doesn't really influence FM for the most part, for most of us. You might get a little bit of a degradation in signals during the actual like storm itself when the ionosphere is impacting and you get like those radio blackouts and things like that. You might get a little bit of that. Most of us, though, don't usually see a whole lot from an auroral event. Now, if you are in the influence of the aurora itself and it's over top of your head, that's a little different. You can get an auroral skip, and if you're really lucky, you can get an auroral E-skip. And those are situations where you can find yourself in some really cool DX. I'm going to point you guys here to the VHF DX podcast. This is the folks at the it's Bryce Foster and Nick Langan, both members of the WTFDA. Let's see here. I want to find it's episode 20. I'm going to put the link here to this also in the chat. This is on Apple Music, but feel free to use whatever podcast place you like to use. This is the Apple version, but it's you can just Google search the VHF DX podcast, and you're looking for this episode 20. It's from May 20th. They have a interview on there with Bill Hepburn, talking about the May Aurora opening and like what all kind of goes into that, what to expect and how it went down and what he's noticed because he's in Ontario, right? And so he got a chance to do some pretty cool FMDX during this auroral event. So if you find that you will be under the influence of the aurora itself, especially the further north you go, you want to look at some FMDX, I highly recommend taking a look at that podcast and seeing what you can expect to see and kind of how you would want to strategize your DX. And I've been told that a little bit higher than the FM band, up in the weather band at 162 megahertz, those effects can be a little bit more pronounced. So if you're either already dabbling your toes or wanting to dabble your toes into weather DX and listening for those NOAA weather radio stations or Canadian weather radio stations, and I think they actually talk about that on the podcast too, that would be a good time to do that as well, because those higher frequencies can even see that influence a bit more than some of those frequencies below. So AM, we're looking tomorrow. I think the timing is going to be the same pretty much for everybody over the next 24 hours. AM, we're looking to see that Bravo Zulu go negative and big, and we're looking for stations to our south to be enhanced on the FM and the weather. We're looking for the auroral influence to be able to give us some skip conditions. And they're usually kind of this... they're not very super strong skip. I remember Bill talking about it on the podcast. It's not usually super strong. I've never experienced a rural FM. I've always lived in the South all my life, so this is like a whole foreign concept to me. But definitely listen to that edition of Bryce and Nick's podcast, and you can get a whole lot of information if you're kind of an area that you think might be influenced by that. So that's what we can expect, guys, from this solar event that has erupted from the sun and is heading our way. And we might not be done. And I want to say it was that podcast Bill actually said, I think it's 28 days or so. There's a time frame after an event like this where that spot that created the X-class flare kind of rotates back around and it's Earth facing again. And you have a lot of times you get more stuff out of it. Because he was talking about it in May that we might be seeing it in late June. We might see another event. It didn't pan out that particular time, but you can sometimes get, as that active region rotates back around, the backside of the sun comes back around and now facing us again, you can sometimes get these again. So we may have another one of these to contend with here towards the end of the month, which would be really, really cool. All right, we see a whole bunch of folks in the chat. Sean saying 144 megahertz during Aurora can be incredible. CW during an Aurora on 2 meters is super fun. Very cool. Another thing that I would love to be able to take advantage of. Again, but I'm too far south. I've never even experienced that. Bravo Zulu. Oh, there's Bill. Bravo Zulu can be found. He provides a link in here as well. Thank you, Bill. KP is rising. BZ is pointing north right now. So, yep, we haven't gotten that southern component. It's not pushing down just yet. And I see you guys in here talking about some of the auroral stuff going on here. So, awesome. All right. Let's do some more live DX. How about it? Actually, no. Let's wait on the live DX. Let's do some shout-outs. I want to get to some shout-outs. Because I want to make sure we get all these in, because we have more shout-outs than usual this week. You guys are hearing some good stuff, and I want to make sure we blow that horn of victory in your honor. So, shout-out time.
Shout out loud, hear the call for every single big or small, from AM to FM, from C to C. We celebrate the ones who slag the IT. Shout out loud, let it be known, you're never DXing all alone. Through the static we found our way. Shout-outs making waves today.
Yes, sir. It's shout-out time, so let's go ahead and take a look and see what you guys have been hearing since last week. Again, it's dxchallenges.com/shoutout. That's where you go to submit your shout-outs of everything you've been hearing since last week. Let's start with Jerry Hart. I saw Jerry in the chat earlier. Hey, Jerry. Jerry heard WNRN 1590 Richmond, Virginia on Day Power, new, and WAAM 1600 in Ann Arbor, Michigan, also new. So we got our first log saw tonight. Good job, Jerry. All right, my friend. Well done. 2 new ones. Anytime you can get new ones, always a fun day. And just as a reminder, these shout-outs are not just AM. They're not just FM. It's anything. AM, FM, TV, weather, DX. We even have folks throw their ham radio stuff in there. We'll celebrate that too. That's fine. If you have something cool to talk about, let's talk about it. Joel in Pittsburgh, PA has a new log. 1380 WINR in Woonsocket, Rhode Island at 5 a.m. Either still on their day power, 2,500 watts, or an amazing signal for 18 watts at night. Either way, it was very strong for only about 3 minutes here in Pittsburgh. So new log for Joel. Well done, my friend. All right, let's go ahead and get Carl in here, our Summer of DX Challenge champion. Carl DeWitt, he had such an amazing summer that he's found it hard to get new stuff since the summer ended, but he did get a new one here, WALG 1590 in Albany, Georgia for station number 850. Well done, Carl. All right, let's go ahead and put a pause right there on the shout-out. So that'll be our first round. We've got some shout-outs in here from John Johnson in Arizona, from Sean Kutsko in Illinois. So we're getting to you guys here in a bit. But let's go ahead and do a little bit of live DX, and let's check the conditions real quick and see what we're hearing. And then we'll take a quick break, come back, more live DX, and then we'll continue on. So this edition of Live DX is brought to you by IRCA Online. IRCAonline.org is where you want to go for more information about becoming a member of the International Radio Club of America. All right, let's start here on our south wire. So we're a little bit past sunset now. Looks like the Terminator line is just past the panhandle of Texas. It's now into New Mexico. So we should be well enough into the night now, into the gray, in the dark, to be able to hear something here. So let's start here on 1590, and we'll work our way back up to 1600. Actually, let's start the other way.
No flag. The timing was perfect there. So the Cardinals get a turnover on down.
So that's still KLEB.
Evan Weber on the break.
That's to be HOT still.
Ya cuando los bajen de la moto se van a quedar así,
Or is that Buenísima?
No más, eso no se hace, ¿sí?
Yeah, that's probably Mexico. Let's do a real quick check. This, I haven't made a text thing for it here at the top, so you guys will just have to trust me on this one. This antenna is our northwest southeast KAZ. This is right now pointing northwest. I just dialed in a little bit more resistance on the variable resistor today to try to get some better nulls on the southeast side because we're getting too much of that Florida stuff on this antenna, and it sounds like it's actually working because that's not WHOT. Let's see who this is here on 1590 on the northwest side of the KAZ.
Okay, speaking of Beckville Bearcats again, Mahika did a kick.
Probably KGAS is my guess, but we'll see.
Let's put Beckville lights. That way nobody gets hurt and they don't break loose and run for a touchdown. And the ball's going to be marked. I think they're going to mark it on the 35-yard line. That's where the two referees are standing.
The rooster isn't that AOS? Don't they do that? Or am I thinking of somebody else? I want to say that's AOS. Does the rooster crow?
Look at the sideline. Looks like it's 38. I get out here and I go down. Looks like the Twins on the right side. And they got Twins on both sides. And the Wildcats, they run it. They pitch it.
So I'm pretty sure that's KGAS that we're hearing right now with the high school football.
And he runs out of bounds. And thank God for that giant kick by number 20. Those five loads takes him down. He does. That quarterback made a good pitch. Kind of an option there, PT. I know that was kind of worried because it looked like Moses opened up the Red Sea on that ball, right? That ball's going to be marked down on the, that looks like the 39-yard line with 1 yard gain. Second down and 9. And we're on the right hash. We got Twins on both sides again. No Christmas on the left side, second on the right. Quarterback in the shotgun. He stands away. He's looking. He's getting pressure from Beckman. And Beckman, as he's throwing, he throws that away. Throws it away. Throws it away. No competition. It's going to be third down. And about long. It's going to be
Yeah, that hit's been around for a lot of folks this week, Rob. I don't think anyone's been able to narrow it down who it is yet.
take care of business. As he's doing this, it's going to be a mainstay for Beckman because.
All right, let's swap this over now to the West Wire on the West SuperLoop and our DX Central Kiwi and see who we're getting here on the west side. Again, I think that's probably KGAS. And I'm guessing that the Spanish station is probably XEVOZ in there right now. Let's get that ID.
Football games. The Beckville Athletic Booster Club wishes all Beckville athletes the best season yet, as the Beckville Sports Clubs have shown their hard work, put in the extra hours of practice, and it definitely shows in their pride and dedication. The Beckville Athletic Booster Club supports pride and dedication in Beckville sports. Okay, we're back in live action. I got you on live, man. You didn't know we also have the Wildcats. They come out and line up. Remember the third down and long. Going back to the shotgun. He's going back.
You think these guys realize they're being broadcast all over the world right now?
I'll tell you what, was there a flag on the play? I don't think so. That's what I'm looking for. I don't see it. I don't think so. The white cap is not moving, and that's going to be that's going to be all they're down there, fourth and long. That means they've got to punt, not to say face and get trouble.
We had a push on that, but the ref didn't see it, so it falls to the favor of the Bearcats, and it does bring up fourth down, like you say.
And they do have the punt team set up.
says they have a live stream here.
Thank you, Panola and surrounding counties, for supporting your local GM dealer, Pippin Motor Company.
I'm going to mute that real quick. Yeah, it says they have a live stream. Yeah, I had that tone pretty loud when I had it on the east wire.
All new systems and whole home generators, too. We don't know where any superheroes are, but we always have super prices.
Super prices? I never heard of that superhero.
Since 1970.
Yep. That, I don't know. Maybe not running the game on their stream. So that might be, let me see, back on the west wire again. Yeah, I haven't been able to figure out who that head is here on 1590. I'm not hearing him right now. That's Buenísima that you just heard with the whistle there. I heard that this week. All right, so we're here at about 41 after. So let's go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get more live DX going. And we'll do a top of the hour alert, and then we'll get to some FM DX here in the next hour. Can't wait. More DX Central Live is heading your way right after this.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
With a lifetime membership, the International Radio Club of America gives DXers incredible value by putting important station information right at your fingertips. The club's e-publication, the DX Monitor, includes DXer loggings, station information updates, international loggings, and more. Other club publications include the IRCA Mexican Log, a must-have resource for any DXer that chases stations from Mexico, the TIS-HAR list, the IRCA slogan list, sunset sunrise maps, and DXer technical guides. The joint IRCA-NRC email reflector and groups.io group is a hub for real-time DX conditions, station news, and DX-related conversation. For more information, visit ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. For more than 90 years, the National Radio Club has been at the forefront of providing DXers with the latest in station news, DX-related technical information, and reception reports from DXers around the world. The NRC's AM radio log, now in its 45th edition, is the most expansive and detailed resource of station information for U.S. and Canadian radio stations that is available in any format. The club's publication, the DX News, is available in both print and electronic format and provides the latest information on call letter and format changes, construction permits, and other information to help keep DXers informed of the latest updates they may hear on the air. For more information, visit their website at nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
This man told me to tell you to watch DX Central Live with Lloyd Van Horn every Friday night. I can't feel my face.
Yo, two boxers in the park, arguing after dark, clogged, periodic in the hand, talking bands across the land. But the Yagi got the mic, pulling stations late at night, dialing up the distant sound, arguing tech all around. Log versus Yagi, which one's the key to hear the far-off frequency in the FMC? His case, wider gain and more embrace, catching signals
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
Lord versus Yagi, which one's the key to hear the far-off frequency in the FMC?
It's DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here in Mandeville, Louisiana, where we bring you live DX, DX Talk, and more every Friday night at 2345 UTC. That's 1845 Central Daylight Time. Before we get back into some DX, we've got a couple of things coming up here this hour. We're going to do our announcement of our new frequencies of the week. They'll be coming up here in just a few moments. And we'll be doing, of course, our top of the hour alert. But first, I did want to get to some news. So you guys know last week we talked about the new RSP network connected receiver that SDR Play is coming out with. Let's go ahead and talk about something else that's new here that just was announced yesterday. Or actually, I think it was today was the first time I saw it announced. Where's my little stuff at? Anyway. Today was the first time I saw it announced. Yeah, 17 hours ago. So it came out late last night. Prague, our friend Lambda Prague at Airspy announced a new bit of firmware on Twitter and also on their groups.io group, the Airspy group, which, by the way, if you have an Airspy or are interested in them, I highly suggest becoming a member of the groups.io Airspy group. He announced a new firmware update for the HF Plus series. The legendary AGC just got better. The attenuation preamp settings were mapped to a more comfortable noise floor while maintaining the lowest possible noise figure. This works for all front ends, HF, FM broadcast, VHF3. More details in the mailing list, like I said, the groups.io group. And that is now officially a production build. So I just grabbed the link here. So that link right there should be for the production build here for this Airspy firmware update for the Airspy HF Plus series. This is version 5.0.0-CD. Now, I know, Jerry, you mentioned in the Slack channel, and I think it's important to note, you'll want to check to see which edition of the firmware you currently have. There are two usual versions. There's a CD and a BB. And I want to check, unless anything has changed, I'll have to read the documentation. I haven't read the documentation on the production version, but last time I saw, and Jerry mentioned it in the Slack channel, Jerry Hart, if you have the BB version, you don't want to use this upgraded firmware because that can cause you some difficulties. So I'll have to double check the documentation on the firmware and see if that is still the case on the production model, production version or not. But yeah, definitely check out groups.io here for the information on this new updated, here's all 9 messages. There we go. Here's how you check your existing firmware. And of course, we have a video here on the YouTube channel about flashing and upgrading your firmware on your HF Plus device. So make sure you check that out before you try to do anything else. So, but if you use a HF Plus Discovery or the Dual or one of those, you'll definitely want to make sure, if you can, that you're able to update this this firmware to get better AGC and preamp performance with a better noise floor. All right, we are approaching top of the hour here in about just under 10 minutes. But before we do that, I think it's time that we close the book on week 2 of the medium wave frequency challenge, and we open up for week 3. We just are wrapping up here 1590 and 1600. We've been hammering those 2 frequencies relentlessly this week. So it's time that we open up and allow ourselves 2 new frequencies try out this week. Again, what we're doing is we're going around and we're finishing out all the frequencies we didn't get to last year. So with that in mind, here's some new freaks for us. So we're staying on the high end of the band. We're just going to bring it down a notch, 1430 and 1440. I saw Carl mention he's on 1420 as well this week. Gets some stations off the air in his neck of the woods, so this will actually help you kind of stay in that same area. 1430 and 1440 are the 2 frequencies we're going to be looking at here for the next week of our medium wave frequency challenge. That will go live. That new form goes live here at the top of the hour, so you can't go in there and use it until after 8 p.m. I got to pull this up so that I can update the link, though. So let's go ahead and do that. Jacob says another tough set in KSTP's Splatter Blast Zone. Yeah, man. I feel you. WWL. I mean, you're a lot closer to them than I am to WWL, but still, WWL and WYLD both are wreak havoc here. If I don't throw just a ton of attenuation into my my stuff, it can be very, very problematic. All right, so there we go with that. All right, so yeah, we have the form up here at the top of the hour, so you guys can go ahead and start submitting logs whenever you'd like on 1430 and 1440. So let's go ahead and take a quick look and see what we have for this week on those 2 frequencies. I was doing a little recon on them last night, and I've got to be honest with you, I think 1430 is the one that I was like, man, I haven't spent a lot of time there. And what I have spent, I keep getting the same stuff, so I'm very interested to see what I can grab this week. Let's move our Perseus down here to 1430 and take a look at the map so we can see. So here's what I've got. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stations, 7 stations here on 1430. And then 1440, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stations. So roughly about the same on each one. 1440, a lot of Texas stuff here, including KPUR up in Amarillo, KEXB in Denton, and then down here in Livingston, KETX, KTUV up in Arkansas, Boot Crew North Crew is up around there, WZYX in Cowan, Tennessee, closer heading towards Barry's neck of the woods, WLWI in Montgomery, and the 2 Florida stations down here, WPRD Winter Park, and Lehigh Acres, WWCL. Interestingly enough, there's some other stations in here that I think I should have a pretty good chance at, WGVL being one of those, that I have not yet heard. So I'll be trying to get some of that this week with a 15-degree kind of going up towards Greenville and see if I can get back that way. On 1430, it's just been KTBZ, The Buzz in Tulsa, Keys up here in Gladewater, KSHJ in Houston, Wow, Germantown, Tennessee, WOWW, WYHC, or YMC rather, in Mayfield, Kentucky, WYGI in Madison, Tennessee, and WLKF down here in Lakeland, Florida. So those are the ones that I have here on 1430 so far. So every time I tune in, it's been Keys and Buzz, Keys and Buzz, Keys and Buzz. Every time I've done my recon work this week on 1430, Keys and Buzz, that's it. So I'm very much hopeful to get some new ones out of here pretty soon. And so let's go ahead and start off here on the Perseus, and we're at 195 degrees, which is down here towards XETT. in Mexico. So that might be who we're about to hear, but let's take a look and see what we get. Nope. And by the way, you see this station here very close to me that has not been logged yet. I don't know where they are. Morgan City, I've never heard them here. I don't know if they're throwing any signal my way whatsoever, or if they're just not on the air. I don't know, but I've not heard them yet in 3 years. And I know Morgan City is one of those areas that when hurricanes do come through tend to not do well. So I don't know if they're having that problem post Ida. I don't know. We got a station playing some classic hits, Black Crows. That could very well be The Pig, Wow, in Germantown, Tennessee. Could be Hippie Radio in Madison, WYGI. Those are both good candidates. There's also an alternative station in Virginia. I don't get much from that direction here. There's a classic hit station in Virginia. An oldie station in South Dakota. Oh, come on, baby. Give me that one. Classic rock in Pennsylvania. Those are all possibilities, I guess, but I'm still going back to my two Tennessees. Germantown and Madison. Wow, The Pig, and Hippie Radio. Hey, Blazer Bobcat. Blazer Bobcat says, should you wait until it's close to sunset to try to pick up as many weak signals as possible, especially on the higher 4-digit frequencies? I think, typically you start seeing, depending on where you are geographically, a lot of times you can start seeing that influence of the gray line about an hour before sunset. The closer you are to a coastline, the East Coast especially, that can be a little different. When I was in Charleston, we didn't get much pre-sunrise. It was definitely like right at it. That's where we would start seeing some influence. Definitely in the morning, I would say in the morning is sunrise is a really, really awesome time. If you're looking out ahead of the gray line, morning time is really good for that. We'll talk about that here in just a few moments. So let's go ahead and do a top of the hour time frame. It's time to hit the alert.
DX Central Live top of the hour alert.
All right, so we are here on the Perseus top of the hour time frame. Bill, hit them sirens, buddy. And yeah, it typically at sunset will fill in from the top down. So you'll, on the high end of the band, 15, 16, 1400s will fill in first and then works its way down. That is not to say that you should ignore the low end of the band during sunset. That's not the case. I've actually heard South Dakota for the first time because of sunset on the low end of the band. So, 1430 and 1440 are the frequencies, Blazer Bob. I think I just heard him mention an ad for something in Florida, probably WLKF. Let's go take a look and see. This is going to be recording. It's actually... Now it's recording, so we can come back to this now to see who that turned out to be. Let's go look at the Kiwi.
Even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 918-488-0000. That's 918-488-0000. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
So here's the south-facing Kiwi.
About to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
This is probably Florida.
Like the efforts are futile. But you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people. And maybe what is a terrible project?
All right, we're a minute from top of the hour. We're going to turn off the mic and listen in.
inspection gratis, review, réviser, commissaire gratis, au sans obligation. Pas de pièce comme quoi payer. Ça, c'est important. Révision, inspection gratis sans obligation. Mais les cas surtout, à chercher changer sur le centre de bâtiment, et la publicité pour checker pour sans problème, sans difficulté. On est des nombres d'acteurs de l'installation pour le carreau 3, 1, 4, 7, 0, 7, 3, 3, 1, 4, 7, 0, 7, 9, 3. 4, 6, 7, 2, 2, 9, 3, 3, 7, 2, 2, après 15 mois,
victory of light over darkness, good over evil, and knowledge over ignorance. It all went on sale today for $40. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News. North Carolina health workers are distributing Benadryl and epinephrine injections to communities after hurricane flooding causes bees and yellow jackets to swarm from their underground nests. Hospitals, emergency responders, and doctors have been requesting allergy medications as more people run into the insects in the wind's wake. Jennifer Piper, CBS. If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to slow GA progression. Is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Isovic can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or
I want to see who this is here that's coming out of CBS News.
your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about eye survey today.
The new challenge form is live.
Visit eyesurvey.com. That's eyesurvey.com.
This is probably Montgomery. Okay, so they're not going to ID. I was hoping they were going to ID coming out of the break into to the first first segment of the new hour. A lot of stations will, but I guess the News Radio 1440 will have to do. But I'm thinking that's probably Birmingham. That's who it usually is for me here, is Birmingham. But we'll keep looking. I'm just double checking to make sure that the link is now working. Oh, I got to change out that image, don't I? Come on, Lloyd. Get with the program. Got to change that. Do that. All right, let's go ahead and take a look and see what do we catch here at the top of the hour on the Perseus, starting with 1440. All right, so yeah, you guys should be good to go on the challenge form. Who this might be? KTUV maybe? Be ZYX? One of those could be who we're hearing here. Again, this is looking back at the top of the hour. Cat. Yeah. That's KTUV. Little Rock. Boot Crew North, guys. If you're in the chat, if you're watching, got one up around your neck of the woods here on 1440. And for 1430, who did we get? Oh, sorry.
You're listening to KEDS 1430 AM, Gladewater on the Guadalupe Radio Network.
So yeah, there you go. So at the top of the hour on live, I heard on the Kiwi, I heard KSHJ down in Houston. There we had KEES, Gladewater, Texas. So 2 Texas stations so far, kind of what I thought we'd hear. I heard a sports station in there as well underneath Keys, and that's probably the Buzz there in Oklahoma. And on 1440, we had KTUV in Little Rock, Arkansas, and then probably WLWI in Montgomery on 1440 as well on the Kiwi. So got our first handful of stations in there that we'll be able to submit here for the challenge and go from there. I just dropped the link into the chat for the shout-outs. Make sure you get your shout-outs in. Let us know what you've been hearing. We want to celebrate with you. New states, new countries, new logs, new Louisiana stations, Wisconsin stations, Canadian provinces, Wisconsin, I already said that. Mexican states, that's one of them. New Latin stations, if you hear something new from Latin America, new Gold Met, new Milestone, new gear. Just let us know what you've been hearing. We'll get you in there. We'll blow the horn of victory in your honor, and we'll celebrate together. Let's take another quick break, and when we come back, we got more live DX heading your way right here on DX Central Live.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
For more than 90 years, the National Radio Club has been at the forefront of providing DXers with the latest in station news, DX-related technical information, and reception reports from DXers around the world. The NRC's AM radio log, now in its 45th edition, is the most expansive and detailed resource of station information for U.S. and Canadian radio stations that is available in any format. The club's publication, the DX News, is available in both print and electronic format and provides the latest information on call letter and format changes, construction permits, and other information to help keep DXers informed of the latest updates they may hear on the air. For more information, visit their website at nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. With a lifetime membership, the International Radio Club of America gives DXers incredible value by putting important station information right at your fingertips. The club's e-publication, the DX Monitor, includes DXer loggings, station information updates, international loggings, and more. Other club publications include the IRCA Mexican Log, a must-have resource for any DXer that chases stations from Mexico, the TIS HAR list, the IRCA slogan list, sunset sunrise maps, and DXer technical guides. The joint IRCA-NRC email reflector and groups.io group is a hub for real-time DX conditions, station news, and DX-related conversation. For more information, visit ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
You're watching DX Central Live with Lloyd Van Horn, and that's a very wise thing to do.
Airwaves playing loud and clear. Good DJs bringing cheer. Voice of gold up on the scene. Signal strong just like a dream. Hear the jingle station name. DXers in the nightly game. Picking up that magic sound. On the hunt all around. Radio heroes in the sky. Let them frequencies fly. Sound calling far and wide. Good DJs never hide.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
From Studio A in the North Shore Studios here in Mandeville, Louisiana, it's DX Central Live every Friday night. 2345 UTC, 1845 at 645 Central Daylight Time, bringing you live DX, AM, FM, and weather and more. Speaking of FM, let's do some FM talking and talk about FM and DX a little FM and check out some stuff about FM, shall we? Before we get into all of that, I did want to do one thing. All right, let's take a look at the Tropo forecast. This is Bill Hepburn's Tropo forecast for the next several days, the rest of the week. And I've got bad news for you. If you're on the East Coast, there's not a lot here, man. There's a little bit off the coast, the Mid-Atlantic area. There's some fair to marginal. Look at this. I mean, there's just not a lot. A little bit up here in Missouri, Illinois. Sean, you might have a little opportunity for some FM Tropo up in your neck of the woods up this way. And if you're on either end of this, that could be productive for you. And then over here in the Mid-Atlantic, it's starting to come in on shore. This is for 1 o'clock a.m. tomorrow, Sunday morning, Saturday night, basically. That's 1 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Be what 2 a.m. Eastern, right? Get that right? Yeah, I got that right. So 600 UTC on Sunday. Let's just say that. Let's just do 600 UTC on Sunday. So a couple of you guys might have a little opportunity here in Mid-Atlantic region for a little bit of tropo down the coastline, and something here in the middle of the country here, Missouri, Illinois. That makes its way down a little bit into Tennessee and Kentucky in here, but it's starting to kind of break apart a little bit. And meanwhile, that Mid-Atlantic stuff has kind of shifted down, it looks like. Again, this is now for the morning of Sunday morning. A little bit back in Texas. And then you see this clears out. So the stuff that was here in the Midwest, gone. Stuff here on the coastline, pushing out. Everything down here, pushing out. And then we've just got nothing. A little bit up here in the Great Lakes. So Chris Catlick, I know you might have something up in your neck of the woods up here in the Great Lakes. A little bit of that continues on in here, so we get a little bit in this region, West Virginia, but probably not a lot of like deep tropo. I'm looking for like some deep tropo. Not really seeing it. Now we have a little bit here potentially Monday morning. This would be around 7 Central Time Monday morning. We could be potentially looking at some tropo. I call it moderate here along the Gulf Coast. In a couple of different areas. Nothing significant, nothing like earth-shattering. I don't expect to hear much into the Florida Panhandle, maybe a little bit into, my usual areas over West Louisiana. And then even that's starting to dissipate out, push off the coast. Now this starts kind of building in here in the middle Tennessee area on, that's Tuesday morning. And then it's gone. Then we start seeing this starting to crop up here on the morning. Actually, that would be afternoon of the Tuesday afternoon, the 8th. This is about 1 o'clock Central Time here. Starting to build in here off the Gulf Coast. Not coming inland too much. Maybe down towards Mexico. I'd have to pull that in to see a little bit better. Maybe building back in here by Wednesday morning. Thursday morning, possibly we're seeing a little bit. So this might be a little of an avenue down here into Texas, Mexico for me down here. Again, we have a little bit right here off the South Carolina, Georgia border, Tennessee, or off the coast, rather. Probably not going to get you something you haven't already gotten, more than likely. There's not a lot of ducting going on. It's a little bit of enhancement right in that little zone right there. That kind of percolates down towards Florida a little bit, maybe builds in a little bit here on Thursday, overnight, Wednesday night, into Thursday morning. And now as we start getting out in this end, down here on this end of the forecast, I start kind of losing any credibility with the forecast. It's way out, right? So we're almost a week out from that. So I would say kind of looking here to Monday morning, maybe we'll call it Tuesday morning, just not a lot, a little bit here and there. Like I said, you guys might have something here, Missouri, Illinois, and then Mid-Atlantic, but the rest of us are really, maybe a little bit here in the Great Lakes. The rest of us are really just not seeing a whole lot of tropo here to deal with or to enjoy. So kind of the tropo-less conditions that we saw in the early summer when we were expecting to get some Gulf tropo down here, that's kind of continuing. It's just not really developing. And even with something like the tropical systems where we were supposed to maybe get some options for some tropo in there, it just kind of kept off the coastline, never really brushed inland. So what does that mean, for FMDX? Well, you can either sit around and wait for tropo to develop or just wait till next year and not do any FMDX. Or you can do some meteor scatter, and that's a lot more fun to do something than to do nothing, right? So let's talk about that really quick because we're about to do some meteor scatter FMDX here in just a second. So right now we are in the middle of the Orionids meteor shower. That's going to be peaking here on the 20th of this month, lasting through to the 22nd. It's a pretty decent meteor shower by all practical purposes. Should produce some opportunities for us to get some FMDX via meteor scatter. The one I've got my eye on, though, is the Taurids meteor shower. That's coming up here this month as well. It's going to start up here a little bit later on. And let me actually pull the dates on this one for you. So the Northern Hemisphere, this runs starting from October 13th through the 2nd of December, and it peaks around the 12th of November. The Taurids meteor shower is kind of infamous. It's one that has a lot of conspiracy theories behind it or doomsday proclamations and things like that, because I think they estimated that it was this meteor shower that had the meteor or asteroid or whatever that killed the dinosaurs off. That's what you'll hear online. I don't know how valid that is, But I do know this one is pretty famous for producing fireball meteors and some bigger rocks. And instead of just the dust that we see with a lot of these meteor showers, we're going to see some rocks in the Taurids probably, hopefully. So that means... Oh. I just read Jeff's last comment in the chat. I'm gonna just pin that, come back to that later. The Taurids is one that I'm hoping will produce some pretty good ionization trails for really strong, significant meteor scatter reflection. So definitely, I think it's worth starting to kind of start getting into the groove of some meteor scatter DX and some checking of recordings, especially around sunrise stuff over the next couple of weeks. Then when we get to the 13th of this month, really start that up. By the time we get to that point in the middle of November where it's peaking, I'm hoping we're absolutely seeing some just dynamite meteor scatter into November. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at some meteor scatter DX. You guys know the last couple of weeks we've been looking at this, looking at recordings that I'm doing around sunrise, trying to find little peaks and bursts of meteor scatter activity. So I pulled up a file. This is actually from last week, the 26th. I didn't get a chance to do a recording this week. Work was just crazy. But we do have this recording here from the 26th. This is for the middle of the band, so we're sitting around 102.5 megahertz. Let's go ahead and see if anything popped up, if we have any little meteor bursts here on the waterfall. This is a 6 megahertz spread. We're using SDR. We're using SDR Console software. Now you can follow along with me here, class. All right, so let's go up and look and see what we might have. Now, you're going to notice some noise. Look at that big noise in there. I don't know what that might have been that was causing that, but there is definitely some noise. There might be a little bit of a hit right here. Let's just go ahead and see if anything popped up on this little blurt right there. I got to unmute. We got to let the hard disk cycle here. Nah, that was just a brief little and then it was gone. So, oops, not enough for you to be able to grab an RDSD code or any audio. There wasn't even audio there. So let's scroll up. This is about a 2.5 hour long file that we're going to just do a really quick review of using our data file analyzer. Now, if you are not familiar with how this process works, there's two places you can look for information. The best resource that I recommend is Bryce Foster's videos on the subject. You can search Bryce Foster SDR Console, and then there's one that he talks about, I think it's his last one in the series, he talks about meteor scatter DX using this data file analyzer. Then you can also go back and look at our first episode of this season here on the YouTube channel. We covered my techniques and kind of how I do my meteor scatter DX. It's pretty similar to what Bryce does, maybe a little bit different here and there, but I learned a lot from what I do here from his video. So he is kind of the authority on the subject matter as far as I'm concerned. Just kind of scanning through. What we're looking for is we're looking for little bursts that are pretty self-contained, and especially if they're crossing multiple frequencies. And so far I haven't really seen much. You'll see these little bursts like this or like this. Some of these are airplane bounce. A lot of these are just troposcatter. This is the middle of the day, so airplane bounce is definitely a possibility. We have a little more air traffic here in the middle of the day than we do at night or early in the morning. So what I'm trying to do right now is I've got my eyes acclimated to these dark spots on here that you see on the waterfall, and I'm looking for bursts that pop through on those dark spots. And if I see one, that's where I go, okay, let's go take a look at that. There's a tiny little blurb right here. You look at that, and you wouldn't think anything can come up, but sometimes it's just strong enough to get you a little bit of a RDSD code. Not here. Not in this case. All right, so let's continue rolling up. Oh, by the way, I need to mention, this FMDX session is brought to you by our new sponsor, the Spectrum Monitor, Spectrum Monitor Magazine. There you go. And, let's go ahead and swap this over here. There we go. So this is the antenna and radio combination that were used for this recording, so you guys can kind of see that as well. This is the Elad FDMS3 SDR that we have with our stereo probe 9-element Yagi. Right now it's sitting at about 12 feet or so, 12, 15 feet. Not great. I need to get that up higher, and that's a project for this winter/spring. My goal is to get it to about 27 to 30 feet, somewhere in there. I can. There's a little bit of a burst. Okay, so here's one. This is a burst right here. You got a same time right in here, same time right in here. So let's just take a look and see if anything came out of this.
Starts to get closer to it.
You hear that?
Starts to get closer to it. Starts to get closer to it.
That's the meteor scatter burst. That little brief little burst of audio.
Starts to get closer to it.
And as I've mentioned the last couple of weeks, sometimes if you don't get an RDSD code right away, you can kind of loop it a little bit right over top of that burst, and sometimes that will help.
Starts to get closer. Starts to get closer. Starts to get closer. Starts to get closer to it. Starts to get closer to it.
Nope. Let's take a look at this little burst right here. Nothing there. How about this little guy? That's a decent one. It was a little bit longer. Typically, this is, and I mentioned this the last couple weeks, this is what you're going to find a lot of times when you do meteor scatter. Now, I don't want that to be a discouraging thing, because it can be a lot of fun when you find several of these hits on a file and you start getting actual stuff. You get enough audio for an ID, maybe a local ad or something that you can take advantage of and use that to help you ID it. Or if you do get that RDSD code, a lot of them you don't. You get little snippets like that. Now, I'm in a fairly noisy kind of area, even though I have a pretty decently low noise floor on some of my open channels, my open frequencies. But I look at someone like Barry Bankston, who was in the chat. He lives in a very, very quiet area, I believe, based on what I've seen of his DX. And he hears not just these little snippets like I get. He gets like these kind of longer forms sometimes, and he can get more content out of those to use to ID the stations. He's not always relying on just the RDSD code. Now, this could be something. Let's take a look. That could be airplane bounce, but let's just take a look and see what this is. It's a little bit longer. It is over multiple frequencies, though, and it's centered around this little blink right there, a little blink right, all these little pancakes right in here. This could be something. Let's take a look. That copyright's gonna hit me.
My job has this really cool benefit where if you work really hard.
Oh, come on. Okay. Sorry, I feel better now. That's a Gulf Coast station. So that's a little bit of tropo scatter is what that is, or maybe a little bit of airplane bounce even. And I kind of thought it might be, because what I'm typically seeing with airplane bounce is this kind of like striped look, and then you'll have a big peak, and then there's another striped one. A lot of times the stripes are going in the opposite direction, is where they were on this side. That is, as the airplane approaches, it's bouncing. You kind of get this Doppler effect, and then it gets to the point where wherever it needs to be for that peak signal, and then the airplane continues to pass over you, and you're getting that Doppler effect on the opposite side. So that's when you see some of that striping that's happening there on that waterfall there. But we do have a couple of these other ones here that could be something interesting. So let's take a look at these. Yeah, just not enough there. There's obviously not anything that's identifiable in that audio. It sounded like a Phil Collins song. That I can tell you. But there's no RDS. There's no identifiable characteristics of that signal. So we move on. You can see some of the noise that I do have to deal with, especially in the daytime here. And I've put myself in a situation where I've tried to minimize the noise as much as possible. It doesn't always work out. There we go. That is a meteor scatter burst right there. And I don't, maybe a little bit over here too, but look at that. We got an RDSD code off of it. WKAI in Macomb, Illinois. Nice. And this is one I see quite a bit coming in. K100. Nice. So that was right on time, man. I was looking for one to come in here and show you guys what can happen. And there it is. WKAI in Macomb, Illinois via ionized meteor trail. There's somebody else in there too. And that can happen. Sometimes you can get more in one station in one burst.
Business is booming for Steph's small marketing research.
That's a local. $33 after. Okay, we're almost wrapping up this session here. So there was our first positive ID from Meteor Scatter. It's a station that we have gotten before. And you'll see that sometimes. You'll see some of the same stations popping up. Here's a nice little airplane bounce, tropo scatter, probably airplane bounce. You see that striping? That's what I was talking about. You have the striping, you have a peak, you have the striping probably in the opposite direction a lot of times. That's Doppler effect is what that is. And that's a lot of times going to be airplane bounce. And more than usual, it's going to be a little shorter than what you typically would see with meteor scatter burst. But let's just take a look and see what's there. Okay, how about this guy? That's probably that's probably a semi-local right there. How about this guy right here? Yeah, that's probably, that's Ocean Springs. That's local. So yeah, you'll get some of those. There's some tropo scatter in there for sure. But there might be a little bit of airplane and bounce enhancement in there because we haven't really had a lot of tropo-ish conditions here lately. Let's see what this little guy over here is. So there's nothing really there. I'm going to turn that down just a little bit so that the copyright people don't flip out on me. No RDSD code. That's probably some tropo scatter anyway. That's probably KTDY in Louisiana. I think it's Lafayette, right? KTDY. Or it could be WMXC.
Thank you from your boss. Meeting a friend for lunch? And music like this.
99.9.
That's who that is. WMXC Mobile. Let's go ahead and turn that audio off for there. And look here and see if we have any more signs of some meteor scatter hits. We're getting a little tropo scatter in there. And what frequency is that? Around 103.7. We were seeing a little tropo scatter there. Okay, that's the end of the file. Okay, so, I mean, we did get one. We got one out of there. That was pretty cool to be KAI in Macomb, Illinois. We managed to sneak one meteor scatter log in this week. Now, that's a relog for us, but still cool, right? You're bouncing a FM radio signal from, I forget how far Macomb is. I want to say it's something on the order of 600-700 miles away. You're bouncing an FM radio signal off of a meteor trail left by a meteor, an ionization trail left by a meteor coming in. It's probably just a little piece of dust coming through the atmosphere and burning up, and it ionizes a little area of the ionosphere. And an FM signal traveling towards space hits that and then bounces back down into your radio. Just think about the magic that I just described that's happening when you're doing meteor scatter DX. That's, I mean, of all the places that FM signal is going out, there just happened to be enough of that FM signal to hit that little area where the ionization trail has occurred because of that tiny piece of dust entering the Earth's atmosphere, burning up, ionizes some of the elements there in the ionosphere, leaves a trail, signal bounces off of that back down, and it normally would just keep going up into space, right? Because you've got the ground wave piece of the signal. It's like you have on AM. You have a bit of the FM signal that's going out along the ground in this line of sight between you and that antenna that's broadcasting out. And then there is the part that goes straight up into the space and keeps on going at the speed of light. But this one little bit of it hit that ionization trail and bounced back down to your antenna, and there it is for me to hear it. Remarkable, remarkable, mind-blowing, remarkable to have that kind of thing occurring, and we can tap into it as DXers. For most people, a meteor is something that only comes around if you happen to see a shooting star or during a meteor shower. As DXers, we get to experience that whenever we want. All right. Let's get to some more shout-outs, my friends, because we do have some I want to make sure that we are able to get to tonight. And so that means it's time for the shout-out intro.
Hear the call for every single big or small, from AM to FM, from C to C. We celebrate the ones who slag the IT. Shout out loud, let it be known, you're never DXing all alone. Through the static we found our way. Shout outs making waves today.
Sean, that's very true. That is absolutely true. Sean says in the chat, I refer to VHF, UHF prop like Meteor Scatter and Aurora as robbing Mother Nature. You shouldn't be able to accomplish this, but you can. Very true. Very true. Anytime that you have one of those where it's like outside of that kind of normal propagation, it's just like, there it is. I mean, it's so, you see how fast that was. If I was live DXing that, there's no way. Unless I just happened to be looking at it at that time. And sometimes our auto loggers will catch them. But man, when you set those recordings up overnight like that and you grab those, that is such a cool moment, man. I can't tell you how cool that is. How amazing that feels. All right, a couple shout outs in here. Of course, you can get yours in at dxchallenges.com/shoutout. John Johnson in Mesa, Arizona gets his shout out, and he's got a couple that he wanted to get in here this week. One, he wants to wrap up that Summer of DX challenge that we were doing. He said he was able to log 467 stations from 22 states in 4 countries, including 17 new ones: 550K OAC, 590XEE, 690XEMA, 720XEJAGC, 870KRLA, 1010KCHJ, 1070KFTI. Nice. From Arizona to Kansas. Nice. 1090KBOZ, 1180XEUBS, 1240KMHI, 1270KSCB, 1340KCQL, 1340KKGK, 1430KTBZ in Oklahoma. Nice. 1460KTYM, 1540KGBC, and 1550XEBG. So there's some Latin Americans in there. So we'll get that in. So far this new DX season, he's logged 5 new stations from Mesa, Arizona with KCSR 610, KLOH 1050, KLOA 1240, KCLI 1320, and KWOD on 1600. This brings the total to 888 stations logged from Mesa in the past 10 years. So, my friend, that means first, we're going to get you started with some nice log sawing. Mexico Mike J, the shout out link is pinned up to the top. The pinned chat here in YouTube has the shout out link in there for you. I'll try to grab it here in a second, though, and we'll get that in there for you as well. So congratulations, John. A bunch of new stations, 17 new ones during the Summer DX Challenge, and already 5 new ones so far this DX season. So well done, my friend. And also, he did get those Latin American stations, so I do want to make sure we don't forget about that. Yeah. Take care, Master Player. So, Jeff, I want to ask you, so you're saying a 4-to-1 Balun with the W6LVP amp, and is that for the bog? Because we were having a discussion about Balun use with like some of the like KAZs and SuperLoops and things like that. We were having a discussion about that earlier on the Slack channel. 11 new logs this week for our friend Sean Kutzko, Champaign, Illinois. 11 new ones, 14 stations for the challenge, including 6 new logs, KUSH and Cushing. 557 miles for that one. WNRN in Richmond, Virginia on 1590. KCXL, Liberty, Missouri, 1140. 1590, Hillsboro, Ohio, WSRW. WPEPFB, 910 in Milton, Ohio. KBHT, 1590 in Mexia, Texas. Remember when you got that one? Nice. KMLB, 540 Monroe. Got that, boy. Yes, sir. KICS, 1550 in Hastings, Nebraska. KMXA, 1090 Aurora, Colorado. I was really looking for them last night. They just weren't there. KVGB in Great Bend, Kansas on 1590. And distance leaders this week were KGHL, 790 Billings, Montana. CKBI, 900 Prince, Alberta. KFAX, 1100 San Francisco. 1100. Also of note, KNX 1070 LA has been reliably audible in Illinois for the past 2 weeks, about an hour before sunrise. Sometimes it's been the dominant station on frequency. Building my SuperLoop this weekend, and he's saying that because he had not heard KNX before, and then he hears them, and now they're there a lot. Building his SuperLoop this weekend. Woo! Thanks for Les Rayburn in Alabama for the piece, the parts, and the guidance. So we start off with the log, my friend. And we got to dose out some of that gumbo, baby. Yes, sir. '73 Master Player. Nice to have you in there, man. Don't put your spoon down. We ain't done with the gumbo just yet, because Mike Jeziorski, Mexico Mike J, just let us know he also got a couple new catches this week. KGAS 1590 in Carthage and KLEB 1600. So let's go ahead and get that log for you, my friend. And we got that new station in Louisiana, KLEB, down here in Golden Meadow. Listen on Sunday mornings. They got a great Cajun show if you like Zydeco. We got a double dose of that gumbo today, baby. All right, so there you go, Mexico Mike J. Congratulations on your new logs as well, my friend. There is still time if you want to get your shout-outs in. That's dxchallenges.com/shoutout. We can get you in there and get your shout-outs in so that you can get some gumbo or some fireworks or your passport stamped or just make a new log, whatever it might be. you have time in here, we'll do one more round of those in the next hour, and we'll share our shout-outs from here at DX Central from the past week as well. All right, let's take a very, very quick break, and when we come right back, we're going to... Actually, no, we're not. We already did a break this hour. Let's just go ahead and do some live DX. How about that? Live AM DX brought to you by International Radio Club of America, ircaonline.org. And we're going to start off here on the Perseus, and we're on 1430 and 1440, our new frequencies of the week. And let's go ahead and start here on 1430. I knew I had it right. 1430, and we still on that? Yeah, we're still on the Northwest KAZ. That's kind of messy. If you're DXing alongside with us, let us know what you're hearing. And if you have a frequency you want us to check out, let us know. All right, we're going to come back to that classic rock. I bet you I know who that is. But we're going to come back to that in just a second. Let's go check out the South Wire. This is the 150-degree Kiwi KAZ. Let's go. There is one station here in Mexico that we have heard here, XEEST. They're 25 kilowatt. Fox says, what website are we using? This one you see on screen right now is a link to our, we have two KiwiSDRs, online receivers. This was one of ours. This is one paired with an antenna pointing at Central South America, 150 degrees from our location here in Louisiana. And then the other one is here. This is the one we have antenna out in the front yard here. This is right now pointed at 263 degrees or almost west from Mandeville here. This is our other KiwiSDR. You can find these at KiwiSDR.com. And then from there, there's a couple different ways that you can find those and other SDRs. The easiest, though, is usually the map. Pull up the map. There's a link for it right here. You see the word map right there. And, of course, the map is not working. One time I'm trying to highlight it for him. You can also get a list. You can also see a list by signal-to-noise ratio scores, and that is going to tell you the higher they are on this list, the more... the better the signal strengths are going to be and the quieter the antenna and the receiver is. And right now, Shortwave Central is at, the one we're on right now is at number 47 in the world right now. And I bet you I can make it even better. Checking this out. Yeah. I just had it remeasure the signal to noise ratio, and we'll be up here at 39 dB when this recycles. So we'll be the top 25 in the world when this recycles. This list. So you can find us here. Just pull up this SNR scores list on the Kiwi SDR website. This SNR scores right here, and then you'll be looking for Shortwave Central and DX Central, which I don't remember. Yeah, we're at 139 down here. These are both our Kiwis that we manage here. Let's see who this Latin American station is. We'd love to find some stuff down here in Central or South America. got a het here. 1439.97. There's a Peruvian at that. I doubt it's who it is. Oh, that's probably KTUV in Little Rock. Who that probably is. Although I don't hear them in there right now. Mike wants to know what some strategies are for improving signal to noise ratio. It's tough, man. It's tough. I mean, I'm trying to figure that out right now on my West SuperLoop on the DXC Kiwi. I've been trying to play around with that a little bit. I mean, obviously, get it as far away from noise as you possibly can. Get it as far away from like metal as you possibly can. Anything electrical. Like the problem I have with the West SuperLoop is it's directly under the power lines. That's what I have to deal with. That's what I got to deal with. The Kiwi KAZ, I contend, I don't know if there's any scientific basis for this. In fact, I've heard just the opposite, but I have it 10 feet off the ground. It's 25 by 72, but it's 10 feet off the ground, and it's one of the quietest antennas I've ever seen in my DX career. Definitely the quietest one I've ever used. I don't know if elevating that KAZ up 10 feet had anything to do with it. I don't know. I've heard that it shouldn't. I've heard that it's only supposed to be a foot or two off the ground. If KAZ himself was in here right now, I would ask him to validate his findings on that and his research. But I just know what I've seen with that elevated KAZ. It might be, I don't know if it's the size, I don't know if it's the proximity to noise, I don't know if it's the fact that it's elevated. Something about that antenna is super duper quiet. Getting any kind of noise, like I know like a lot of times in-shack noise is a big problem, right? I haven't noticed in-shack noise being a problem on my antennas outside. So like putting chokes and ferrites and things like that on like your internal stuff. Now, if it was in the shack and it was a problem enough that the Kiwi was picking it up, then yeah, I'd be going crazy trying to find it and fix it. But I haven't really noticed on any of my SDRs that use outdoor antennas, I haven't noticed that being a problem. Typically when I do have noise, it's something outside or another neighbor that has a noise source that I'm trying to contend with, like, you know, LEDs and dimmers. And we had a bad street light here not long ago. It was arcing, an old halogen light that I had the power company come out and they fixed it and problem went away. So stuff like that. I mean, that's what I have had to contend with. So, you know, if you're using an outdoor antenna like a W6 LVP loop or one of the Delta loops that are a little more immune sometimes to noise, sometimes, depending on what kind of noise it is, those can be helpful. But if you're talking about like in the shack, man, that's a tough one. Like if you're trying to get noise that's inside your house and you're DXing with an antenna like on your portable, or something inside like a U-loop or something like that inside, and you got a bunch of noise in your house causing problems, that's a tough one. And that's the very reason I've had to push myself to put outdoor antennas and learn about antennas and how to build them and things. It was because of that, because I was doing stuff with internal antennas inside and it was driving me crazy. So just something to think about there. I know I think you've got an outdoor antenna for yours, so it's just about getting it as far away from noise as you can. Identifying, if you can, what the sources of noise that you're hearing are from, where they're from, and then trying to attack it one at a time. If you are, for those, not for Mike necessarily, but for the others who might be watching, if you are doing something indoors and you're trying to isolate where the noise is coming from, I used to turn off all of my circuit breakers in the house, and I would turn them on one by one, and I would see which one caused the noise, and I would know, I had written down which breaker was, where it was from and everything else, what it was tied to. So I turn on the one for the bedroom. Also, the noise would go up, and I go find there was like a charger, a cheap knockoff charger for my phone or something that was causing noise or something like that, right? So sometimes that can be a strategy that you can use. Just turn everything off with your breaker box, and then one by one, turn it on, see what's there, turn it off, turn it on, see what's there, turn it off. Just keep going until you've identified where those noise sources are. LEDs are a big one. Wi-Fi routers are a big one. Plasma TVs are terrible. I always know when my wife is in the back room watching TV with the plasma because my dial goes to hell. So yeah, those are some tips and tricks I've learned over the years. So you know what time it is?
DX Central Live top of the hour alert.
Looking for IDs. Mike says that Kiwi map's loading now. So Fox Gamer, if you want to go pull up, you can look at the map and you can find locations for Kiwis all around the world. And it's really cool. You can listen wherever you might be. We're on the Perseus right now. We're about to be recording here at the top of the, actually in the next minute or so, we'll be recording on that. We'll be doing some more DX here on the Kiwis. In fact, let's go back to the big boy, the 39 dB signal to noise ratio king. This is the 150 degree KAZ antenna, elevated KAZ antenna, 25 by 72. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what's there now. I actually got to most of the things I had on my agenda for tonight. A couple that I'm carrying over to next week, but got to most of them. That's pretty cool. The station down in Mexico here would be Ondas de Vida. Mike, Mexico Mike J says XETT 1430 may be off. They are normally heard here. Interesting. Let's go take a look and see what we have on 1430 on the South Wire.
Portions of the following program will be recorded.
I am a mother.
I am an entrepreneur. I am a singer.
I'm an artist. I'm a journalist. A businesswoman.
An educator.
A sister. A grandmother.
An advocate. A leader. I am a friend. I am.
million people living with HIV in the U.S.
Get the facts. Get tested. Get involved. Go to www.activeNFP.org for more information. 35KT40 Tulsa Sports Station and your home for Fox Sports Radio, 1430 The Phone, and iHeart Radio Station. Here's what you need to know.
There's college football on Fox TV right now. It's ranked Oregon, Ducks lead Michigan State 7-0. They've got goals to go. Early second quarter trying for more. Early second quarter on FS.
Let's bump to 1440 again.
That's my personal cell phone number. I always do that. Give out my personal cell phone number so that you can reach me anytime, day or night. And if you don't reach me, text me. If I get something in the middle of the night, I'll give you a call back. It doesn't matter. If I don't call you back, Kevin will call you back, or somebody from the office will call you back. I look forward to doing more shows with you guys. I think it was a good show. I appreciate the time on the station, and I look forward to helping more people in the Haitian community.
Ça très important, n'importe où besoin nous, vous savez, vous avez texté 954 995 38 05, ça c'est 954 995 38 05. Il est tout professionnel dans le bureau 1 et 2 appliqués. Réclamation, pas besoin de bataille avec eux, pour compte, pour qu'il y ait une équipe là qui connaît l'expérience, qui a été là depuis 1994, qui connaît exactement qui ça peut faire, qui ça peut faire, qui se met comme besoin pour manger dommage pour éviter.
Yeah, nous pensons que c'est un bagage propriétaire et puis l'autre bagage simple se fonctionner encore, c'est médical manufacture, ça veut dire pour aller à l'hôpital, pour créer à tabac un médicament qui va faire bien, les bien aussi. Au cas endommagé dans mes docteurs, surtout pendant le travail, il est capable de faire accident de travail, il est capable de faire accident de vidéo, c'est tout comptable. Il c'est une bagage qui fait des bails numéro téléphone, numéro personnel, vous savez, c'est n'importe où capable de carrer le patient, ou capable de texter, puis ton message, et puis lorsque il y a une norme dans cette affaire, il est là après. Contactez Avocat Femme, nous sommes vraiment contents pour nous rester avec nous et moi, c'est vraiment une belle chose pour Kevin. Nous allons vous donner toute explication, tout ça, vous devez connaître, du cabinet locatif, ça, vous devez faire avec ça, ou pas devez faire. Contactez Avocat Femme dans 954 995 3625.
Et puis, nous avons retourné pour faire même bail encore avec un autre sujet.
Man, I wish I knew who that was of those laser sweeps.
Merci Kevin et merci à Avocat Femme, merci avec tout le monde qui a appliqué nous. Nous avons fait ma modèle Sinor, 561 929 6625, pour tout ça faire et puis pour tout ça faire plaisir. Même numéro 1, 561 929 6625, Avocat Femme, 954 995 3625. Merci tout le monde, bye bye, à la prochaine.
C'est même pas non avec Avocat Femme, mais Mamoun, comment nous pour les Avocat Femme, c'est 954 995 3825. Au revoir.
Back on to 1430 one more time. I've got a... Go back over here to the Perseus. I've got a peak. Oh, now it's gone down, of course. It was around 1430.0104, which is right around the WYGI known carrier.
And I gotta say,
It's known offset for them.
not going anywhere.
That's probably them with Billy Squire in there. Hippie radio. That's who I'm imagining that we have there. That's been playing the classic rock is WYGI. Let's go back and see what we caught here at the top of the hour, though, and then we'll circle back around. We'll check the West Wire and see if we have anything different, and go from there. So let's go ahead and start with the 1430 top of the hour. Tulsa again. All right, let's check 1440. Somebody had a nice tone there at the top of the hour. You hear that? And then right into CBS News. One more time. There you go. There is something to listen for this week on 1440, right at the top of the hour. You have a nice tone, a top of the hour tone into CBS News. Da-na-na-na-na. Love to know who that is. So, all right, detectives, go find that one and figure out who it is that runs that tone there at the top of the hour into CBS News. I know we can go look at Tim Trump's website to figure out who all has CBS News and start from there as our list. Let's go now look at the West Wire, the West Kiwi, and see if we have anything a little different on that one than what we have on the other two.
We received good news for the American worker and families with more than 250 new jobs in September. That was, how they started it. That's the statement that President Biden put out. But the Trump team's making points that are very poignant, letting people know that Americans are still far off now, far worse off than they were when Biden took office.
And let's check 1430. There's the buzz again. And my news talker there was probably Montgomery, WLWI, but there may be some other stations in there that I have to check, like KPUR, KEYS down in Corpus. I think their talk. News talk, but they're supposed to be off at night, so I don't know if that's them or not, but we'll keep checking that. All right, so there you go. We have a handful of stations that we've already heard here for our new challenge frequencies. Let's go back ahead and go back to our standard operating color here. And I do want to do one more quick shout out here. This will be our stuff that we got this week, what we heard here at DX Central.
Hear the call for every single big or small, from AM to FM, from C to C. We celebrate the ones who slag the IT. Shout out loud, let it be known, you're never DXing all alone. Through the static we found our way. Shout outs making waves today.
All right. Pulling up my FM list to make sure I didn't have anything this week. I don't think I did. See, last week was the 27th, right? So we have one new one that we did get this week via Meteor Scatter. So we got to talk about that. All right, so let's take a look at some of what we've heard here at DX Central in the last week. If you didn't get your shout out in time, no worries. You can go ahead and submit that anytime you want to at dxchallenges.com/shoutout. My request usually is just to try to combine those into one shout out if you can. Makes it a little easier for me to navigate and read those on air. But get those in and we'll read you out next week on our show. let's start with the FM here. We did get one new station this week on FM, and it was September 30th, so it did meet my goal. I was trying to log at least 2 stations in September on FM because I didn't have any yet on FM in September here from Mandeville, and I actually ended up with 3. This was at 3:13 a.m. It was a autologger decode meteor scatter using our 62-foot high omnidirectional 91.9 KSOI in Murray, Iowa. Came in via meteor scatter. That puts us now at number 1,131 stations here heard from Mandeville on FM. So let's go ahead and fire that one off. And then you guys know about on the AM side, that's our FM. You know about the AM side, we did hear XEVOZ last week, but a couple of other new ones that came in. We had 3 new ones, including, not including XEVOZ in Mexico on 1590. We had 3 more that were on 1590 that were brand new for us. Let's go ahead through those. WPIW, Mount Vernon, Indiana. Oops, that was a new one for me. That one came in on 28th, yeah. 1590 WQCH in Lafayette, Georgia. Not Lafayette. They don't say Lafayette. They say Lafayette. So Lafayette, Georgia, WQCH, 1590 on the 29th. WPSL, Port St. Lucie, Florida, 10-2. And then also on 10-2 yesterday. This one was on 1240. Or 2 days ago, I'm sorry. 1240 KLIK in Jefferson City, Missouri. So we got a new Missouri, new Florida, new Georgia, new Indiana. That brings our totals here in Mandeville to number 946 stations heard on AM here in Mandeville. So a little bit of catching up to do for what we have on the FM side. And then a couple of other little nuggets about that. We now have from Florida 84 stations. What was the other state? Missouri. We now have 31 stations in Missouri. Georgia, we're at 47 in Georgia. And Indiana, we have 8. And that's a direction I don't get a lot in. Illinois, we've got pretty decent amount, 24. But Indiana, 8. Michigan, 4. Wisconsin, surprisingly, is actually at 5. That's way more than I thought I would get. Ohio at 8. So those, you can see that drop off, right? You can see that kind of drop off. We got the close by here: Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, and of course all the stuff down here on the Gulf South is pretty prevalent. But then you step out of that just a little bit to Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana, Ohio, and they just go right through the bottom. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight on DX Central Live. We want to thank our sponsors, the National Radio Club, nationalradioclub.org, for more information about becoming a member of their amazing club. International Radio Club of America, ircaonline.org, and the Spectrum Monitor, the Spectrum Monitor, thespectrummonitor.com for the Spectrum Monitor magazine, and of course Teak Publishing, teakpublishing.com as well. Thank you, my friends, for tuning in. We appreciate you guys as always. It's been a lot of fun bringing some live DX your way. Good luck on the new frequencies, 1430, 1440. We may see you again tomorrow night if the conditions prove to be pretty successful and we get some Latin stuff in here from these solar storms. We may do a surprise live stream tomorrow night. We'll see. If we do, we'll post it in the Slack channel and on social media and so forth. So take care, my friends. Best of DX. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time.
All the signals we will us through the noise. Feel the thrill, enjoy the joys. Ghostly whispers in the dark. Find a station, hit the mark. Fading in and fading out. Lloyd helps clear the doubt. Stories from the distant land, caught by waves that we command. From our homes we hear the call. DX Central Live for all. DX Central Live tonight. Turning dials, feeling right. Lloyd will guide us through the waves. All the signals we will crave. DX Central Live tonight. Turning dials, feeling right. Lloyd will guide us through the waves. All the signals we will crave. DX Central Live tonight. Turning dials, feeling right. Lloyd will guide us through the waves. All the signals we will crave. DX Central Live tonight. Turning dials, feeling right. Lloyd will guide us through the waves.
This is DX Central Live. This is DX Central Live. This is DX Central Live.